Yes, guys, welcome back to the Natural Muscle Podcast. Today's episode, we are going to cover the UKDFBA International Championships. Um, Also, for some of you, if you want a bit more of an in-depth insight, head judge Christian Bolger has gone through that both on day one and day two. So you got a bit more of an insight to someone who literally judges you based off the actual criteria from the federation as well. And just a note that me and Finna were basically just giving our opinions at the end of the day, our opinions. Whether you take them as positives or negatives, it's just our opinion, and ours doesn't really matter in terms of where you place or not. But we're just trying to get more kind of attraction through for yourself as an athlete, and also natural bodybuilding itself. So day one, we wasn't actually we didn't attend, neither of us attended day one, unfortunately, just because of other commitments and so there. So like I said, if you want a bit more of an in-depth overview of day one itself, go through onto YouTube. I believe it's on AJ's YouTube. You should get a bit more of an in-depth overview from that. But yeah, in terms of what we saw, so kicking it off, obviously day one we had bikini, men's physique, wellness, and para bodybuilding. First class of the day, we actually had so we had junior men's physique. Now this is one class which is normally it's quite a big, well contested class, but I think and something we actually mentioned with Chris at the show is that because of the introduction of classic now, a lot of these men's physique athletes are kind of like leaning towards going into classic, and we're seeing the numbers of like men's physique drop down and classic just continually rise. Don't know how that'll go with Sebum retiring, but I imagine the popularity will still be there with it. But a top two there, and even if they was say 10, 15 athletes, which there tends to be in a junior class, I think it's fair to say these two would still more than likely be the top two there. Because very good top two there. We had Leo coming in first place. I believe he was second in 2022 to Jack Hattersley, PNBA Pro. No, he's now assisted, so I don't think he'll be competing with the PNBA anymore. And we had Finn Cartwright in second place. I believe he picked up third today at the PCA British Finals on the day of recording as well. Is that right, Finn? Third place. So yeah, very
Yep.
good season
Yep.
for
Very good
Finn.
result.
Yeah, very good result. And I believe Leo is doing the Europeans as well.
I didn't see him in the picture, but yeah, he might. No, because he might be doing Universe because
Oh,
Europeans was picked
yeah.
at the Heart of England.
Right, yeah. So I knew he had something else, another show plan, but yeah, phenomenal package, and we'll touch through into when it goes through to the overall, and he didn't look out of place there as well. Also, what's striking is he's sub 60 kilos, which is yeah, very impressive to have a physique like that with under 60 kilos as well. So yeah, very sharp, particularly through from the midsection. Arms like pretty much kind of what you look for from a men's physique athlete as well. And I think what just took him had the edge. He just had a bit more muscle maturity, bit more dense over the likes of Finn there. But both of them had great structures and flow and presentation for the class from what I've seen as well. What were your thoughts overall on this class, Finn?
Yeah, two in the class, but two very, very good athletes. Like, if it'd been 20, these two would have stood out. I imagine absolutely. So yeah, quality, very shredded. I watched a little bit of the review, and Leo's back doubles fucking mint, like bodybuilding level, really, really good. Both shredded, both doing well. His juniors, and like you say, Leo's bounced back after last year. Obviously, Jack's brilliant. Jack would have beat 99% of men's physique. Well, he did beat everyone last year because he won everything. And Finn, like I say, getting a good third place in junior men's physique at PCA today. Really, really good. So these are two to watch out for. I'm absolutely sure they will be good competitors for the rest of their 20s and 30s potentially. On which side, you know, we know people jump across, but hopefully they stay natural. But both of them, yeah, brilliant physiques.
Yeah, very, very good with that. Then we're moving over to junior bikini. We just looked through from this class, and what you'll find with this class, and probably a couple of them, both with day one and day two, like I mentioned earlier, like are purely based on opinion in terms of what both me and Finn are going to like say here, but quite a couple of like a toss up between maybe first and second and third, based on what kind of like apples and oranges physiques preferences, and you could argue this one could have gone either way. I know Lara there in second place. Some judges would have had her in first. I think it was discussed on the review from Lee, AJ, and Chris as well. But also the athlete like taking first as well. There's no arguments and no complaints with her taking the win there. Because yeah, a bit more of a kind of like taper there through, but a bit more conditioning through from Lara. And then third and fourth place there. Good shape and good structure from what we've seen from the photos and the video from the review. But I think it was quite clear in terms of first and second place, and both first and second, like say they're juniors, that definitely stand well in an open lineup. So yeah, credit to you girls.
Yeah, really good. Really good top two. As on the review we said, if it had gone the other way around, I don't think too many people would have been upset. So that's how close it was. It was a weekend of split decisions because when we were there on the Sunday, I think the first four classes or five classes were all split decisions. So yeah, it was a very, very high standard. But that's what you expect at finals. Like you're not going to get, you rarely get like an absolute okay, yeah, you won, and everyone else is like crap at a British final level. At least you shouldn't get that because obviously everyone's there. They should be elevated as a level. But yeah, really good. Junior bikini has been decent this year. As we said on the WNBF show, bikini was very strong, and this was just another strong class. And I'm sure Kate, the winner, she'd
Yeah,
have pushed. Yeah, she'd have pushed Sarah very, very, very hard in the bikini overall. But they actually did it as a full overall with wellness as well, of which we obviously will touch on. So yeah, really strong class this one.
yeah, very good, and yeah, but congratulations, Kate, on a win in a tough class. And then through into Masters men's physique, and someone we see. Oh, just get back onto you there, Johnny. Definitely want your time to shine on this one. An avid supporter of the page and the pod as well. So yeah, we appreciate that. And this is someone who needs no kind of introduction to bodybuilding, competes time and time again, and continues to improve. To be fair, like he's always sharp, but this is 100% the sharpest he's been. And rightly so, taking a win in a well contested class. There was a lot more athletes in Masters men's physique than there was in the juniors. Obviously, even just placing top three, there's more than the two in the juniors. And yeah, it was quite a strong top three as well. All three of the top three kind of possess like different strengths, weaknesses. For instance, the lad in second place had a really good kind of taper onto him, big delts and arms, like sharp, but nowhere near as sharp as Johnny there, and lad in third place, bit more bubblier than the other two. But I think overall, kind of like Johnny just had the like quite well, just did the overall best package there, and coming through into the overall later, he stood out there, which we'll get onto later as well. But yeah, really pleased for Johnny because very supportive of all other athletes. Always tend to attend shows where he can do as well. And yeah, works hard and good lad. So yeah, very happy for him.
Yeah, he's one of the there's like a core of really enthusiastic like supporters of natty bodybuilding, of which I'm sure some people consider us to a part of. But like, yeah, he's such a good bloke. Like anyone who puts a post up, Johnny will be commenting or he'll like it and stuff like that. And it's just great to see him do it. He's competed pretty much every year since his first year, which I think was around 2018-19 time. He does most years, and obviously he's now in the Masters. Won clearly, and again, Jason and Bearden in second and third. They're both British champions this year as well, so he's beat two very class athletes. And that's a really good top three, actually, for Masters. That's exceptional. And then obviously winning the overall, winning his pro card. And I'm sure, you know, he's probably still on cloud nine because he absolutely loves natty bodybuilding. And he probably never thought that he'd like this level of, you know, being a pro and a legitimate like pro, actually winning it the right way and everything. So yeah, he's such a good bloke and supports the pod, supports everyone who does bodybuilding. It's just good to see good people do well. And we've had a lot of that this year, like Theo and that, another one who just is a nice bloke. So yeah, good people doing well is always nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Finn's mentioned there, Johnny actually came away with the overall our newly crowned pro athlete, which I'm sure he'll be buzzing for. Don't know whether he expected it because, like I say, he's just one of them who just looks to bring his best and he's happy regardless. I even remember last year when he got his placing within there, just looks absolutely over the moon with it. So yeah, I'm sure he was over the moon with this result. And then we're through into our next Masters class, so bringing it through over to Masters Bikini. And winner, fair to say, quite a standout with that, which it's not as if like taken away from the other girls there, but just had that kind of freshness to her physique for a Masters Bikini athlete, and just looked, yeah, quite a standout there. But it's good to see a number of athletes within this class. Top like from say second to fourth, quite like a toss up in terms of some a little bit softer than others, some a little bit more well developed in terms of lower half towards the upper. But I think in terms of the overall like complete package, good taper, good separation. The winner was quite clear and a standout here really to me.
Yeah, bang on. To be fair with like the Masters, it's like it can be very like up and down in terms of same figure, in terms of numbers. So good to see actually a good. I imagine there was just the four of them if it's just showing the four. So good to see actually, you know, more than a couple doing it. 'Cause sometimes Masters figure and bikini can be quite low. Because I suppose, you know, if you a good Master Bikini or Masters figure, you're going to hold your own in the Open. So most of them would probably just do that anyway. And we saw on the second day, the figure, two of the three Masters figure did Open figure, and held their own. So it's one of them. I think they just would say, "Oh, I'd rather just do that anyway." So yeah, a good quality winner there. And as I say, just good to see the class actually having a few people in. And I'm sure it'll grow more so than because I think the PCA have not put it in as like a pro division, so I think that's going to make it more popular amongst their side of things. So that might filter through to our side, who knows? But obviously within PCA Naturals next year, that might be quite a big class again. So yeah, just good to see some decent numbers, because obviously a lot of bikini tend to do assisted federations because it's a bit of a bigger thing there, obviously. So they do big numbers, but yeah, good, a very good winner there.
Yeah, very good once again. And then love to see it with the men's para bodybuilding. I believe they introduced this in the when they did Worlds back in June. Was it May or June last year? I believe. I think it was just the only athlete in there, and I'm pretty sure
He did the MBW this year as well, and did Worlds this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure I've
But Lee, I think when he did the MBW, he did like Lee. I'm sure like either he put him in. He did the Open anyway. He did Open men's physique, and then I think either after that he's like Lee found out he had obviously his condition, or he just did the Open anyway and didn't give a fuck because he looks really good and he is very good. And then they took him to Worlds as part of the disability contingent, of which they actually had a couple of people in this today in Denmark at Europeans, which is really good to see because normally it doesn't happen. And it's the first time I've known a disability class at a natty show since my mate did one. Jake, he did MPA in 2017. They did a disability class. And none of the other federations do it. And I think it's just, obviously, there's not that many people do it. And a lot that do, obviously, tend to be assisted for whatever bizarre reason, because you do see it like NPC level. But yeah, great to say, amazing, like fantastic. If there's one, it's amazing. If there's more than one, outstanding. Like, you know, so credit to him, because this game's hard enough without obviously having some sort of condition that affects, you know, training, that affects eating, that affects whatever. So anyone who has a condition that affects those things and gets in shape, brilliant, you know, absolutely brilliant. And I know sometimes when the PCA share them, people critique kind of how we look, because they might not be absolutely peeled, but ultimately, you know, if the person's got a disability, like, they might physically not be able to get peeled, or getting peeled for them might make them like really poorly, because if they've got some sort of like autoimmune or whatever it might be, like, so never. I don't understand the people who really slate them for like condition levels, and it's like, yeah, come on, mate, like, you do that and getting show standards. So yeah, credit to him, absolutely inspirational.
Yeah, bang on with what you've said there. Credit where credit's due, really. For anyone to kind of getting that condition, but also like being in the condition that is brought and the muscularity that is brought, like to still stand up well in the open, as we've seen, like, hats off to you, because that's what you want to do. And if you've chose to just do open anyway because you want to just test yourself up against people without disabilities like that, yeah, even more credit towards you. A great look, and I'm sure he was rewarded today if he was bringing a similar look. Then through onto wellness, the first year of having wellness there, so it was kind of no surprise. We've seen some of these athletes before at the MBW, and no surprise at all, which is fair to say that Anya comes home with the win on the day. Even in assisted federations, as we mentioned with Chris previously when we went over the novice show, not the MBW, sorry, and that the novice slash the Heart of England show. She just in terms of shape, structure, development, condition, just stand out really. And like our second place was like very, very good, great shape for it. Not quite as heavily muscled as Anya. But yeah, many other years you'd have thought like, yeah, she's probably taking the win, but it's just, yeah, Anya's quite a clear standout there. And looking at her, you're looking, yeah, clear pro really. And as she did later on in the day, she took the pro card within the wellness and bikini division. But yeah, it's good to see. I'm sure this is a class that will get a huge amount of attraction, the same as kind of like classic has, but from the female side. Because I know it has a good level of attraction around it, particularly with like NPC and likes of PCA and so on. So it'd be no surprise if from our side of the sport we get the same level of attraction from females. But yeah, I think overall, top like the good top three. I think second was quite clearly edging it through from third, but not enough to kind of close the gap through on Anya. But overall, yeah, a good top three and a good introduction year into the sport, really.
Yeah, as I put on the post, I think she'll be used as a poster girl for natty wellness, in terms of, if
Absolutely.
you want the criteria, like, this is what to look for. If you're a coach, and I know Lee and Chris are big on coaches reading criteria, because we'll get on to later in the show, there was someone in figure on the second day who just was in the wrong class. We'll get on to that in a second. But yeah, like, if you're a coach or an aspiring wellness girl, look at her physique. That's natty, as good as natty wellness is going to be. So that's the criteria. Look like that, and you're going to do very well. Like, that proportion, that condition, that balance. That's what we want. And that side leg shot that holds its own in an NPC level show, in my opinion, assisted. She's unbelievable. She's unbelievable, Anya. Very, very good. Super talented. Could do very well. Hopefully, she stays, in the natural realm. But if she ever did, jump into the other side of a sport, I think genetically we can see she'd do ridiculously well. And like I say, second place, Emma. She's only 20.
20-year-old.
Only
Yeah,
20.
great
Only
potential.
20. That's fantastic leg development for that age. So she could have 2 years off and still be a junior, which is crazy. So yeah, brilliant. A really, really good top two. And I think probably like second place is like what Lee and Chris probably thought they'd get like in the first year, and then someone as good as Andy turns up. And like you say, wins the overall, wins a pro card, and I think it's only a second or third ever show. And I'm sure she says she's doing. I'm sure she said she's doing one more. She might be doing Universe.
You
So
on about
yes,
Anya?
yeah, Anya. Sorry, yeah.
I'm sure she's at the Europeans today.
Oh, if she's at Europeans today, like I say, with the group picture we put on, I couldn't see everyone properly. And obviously, if people have like the hair up and stuff like that, they're harder to recognise because. So yeah, if she's doing wellness, I wouldn't be surprised if she wins the whole thing as a pro because she's that good. So yeah, really quality top two, and I think this is the standard that they'll want. And I think this class will grow. I think this will be a really popular class in the next year or two, particularly because, like Luke said, wellness is like the classic for women. Like everyone wants to do wellness these days. Used to be bikini, but in the last 18 months, 2 years or so, it's much more wellness. And I've got a young client who's just she saw this class and started thinking, well, and asked about it. She's still a junior age, so we're taking a bit of time to grow because obviously you do need these big legs, and that's not going to come overnight, especially naturally. So yeah, really, really impressive. And a great addition to any natty show, really. I know there are a few raised eyebrows, my own included, but if this is the standard, then I think it's got a place.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't disagree with you there at all. And then we're through into men's physique short. Go back through on that. And very strong top three here. Also, we had the athlete come in second place in Masters, taking a second again. Bit unfortunate as well, because like I say, in terms of his package he brought was very, very impressive. Just pipped to that top spot by two phenomenal athletes in first place in both Masters and here again in men's physique short. Actually looks definitely on the kind of top end of the short class here, it seems, unless it's just in terms of the angle of the shot. And then we've got Isaac there in third place, who's also over in Denmark today at the Europeans. But yeah, in terms of like overall kind of structure, clavicle width, just a bit more kind of dominance to his physique, taking up a bit more stage. Like first place was just kind of that's what took it here for me. I think all of them, like the midsection was pretty sharp. But yeah, I think and I'm pretty sure from when it turned to the back as well, our winner here, just a bit thicker from the rear as well, which just that bubbliness to his physique kind of like just took the edge off the athletes in second and third place here. But yeah, very good top three. Can't really argue with the results or the placings here.
No, good for Grant. He did the finals in 2022, came fifth. So he's just climbed the ladder. He did the WMF the week before, didn't place. So that just shows you how competitive men's physique's been. And obviously Jason won his class that week. So that's a turnaround of big proportions. They were both in the short class the week before, and Jason wins. Then next week he's second. Grant didn't place top three. Then this week he's the champion. So it just shows you judges have different eyes. They may have changed in terms of condition or this. So, if you've got more than one show, like just keep going. We keep saying it every time on this podcast. Just keep doing Like, don't go, oh, well, I didn't win, so what's the point in doing it next week? It's the same lineup. Like, well, Grant's turned up in a very similar lineup and he's now British champion. Isaac competes very regularly. He's pretty much another like Johnny, like year in, year out. He helps the federation. So I know he's a popular member of Team UKDFBA. So he's done quite a few international shows already. So he's always up there. And this is probably the biggest version I've seen of Isaac, really. I remember when he first came through, he didn't have as much muscle as this. So yeah, he's certainly getting improvements made. But yeah, really, really strong top three. And, in terms of the overall, Grant would have been, I can't see he was a million miles behind Johnny, but obviously Johnny just is absolutely brutal condition would have won through there.
Yeah, I think he would have been a standout with his condition, which edged it there. But yeah, good, great package for Grant, and yeah, great improvements made. And as Finn said, it's like even if you're similar lineup, just keep going, and that'll come through onto the as we get into day two here, with some very kind of close placings and like one vote either side, and yeah, and just got to think if one of the judges wasn't there, or if like vice versa, things could have gone very differently. And that's not just in men's physique, across all the classes really. And then through onto open bikini here. Got the quick on these stories. Um, Women's bikini open, and again, very very good as expected in British finals. Really, we didn't say expected, but there's no kind of qualification this year for the first time. But you still expect like a high standard and high caliber of athletes, and yeah, certainly did not fail to deliver with this one. But I believe our winner is it's Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah there. Yeah, like in side shot and from the front, it's kind of like one of them physiques that comes out and you're a bit like wow towards it. Your eyes are drawn to it. Good level of conditioning, shape and structure, into a pose as well. Like pretty much what you look for within a bikini athlete. And yeah, she's absolutely nailed it there. And second and third place. I'd imagine it was quite tight between these two. Both very, very good. I think third looked as if she had a bit more muscular, but also not quite as conditioned as second place. So it's hard to tell whether that was the case. But yeah, quite close between them two in terms of from my eyes anyway, similar structures. But yeah, rounding up a good top three, but a clear winner and a very good winner within the open women's bikini.
Yeah, Sarah is. Well, Chris, the head judge, said on our podcast after Heart of England that she's pro level, and I think that's why they gave her a pro card, even though she didn't win the overall. She's just that good, and also that shows how good Anya is because Anya beat her in the overall, and Sarah is, I would say, the best bikini natty I've seen going to shows. If I'm being honest, I can't think of many better, and that's not to insult any that I have seen before. I think she's on, like we said, with the WMBF show in the Heart of England. She's probably on the cusp of muscularity. Too much more muscle, and she probably grows out of the class. But at a pro level, they do want a bit more muscle sometimes. So I assume she will do exceptionally well as a pro. And obviously, a partner Dean is a very successful bodybuilder in his own right. And between the two of them, I think they've won 5 or 6 shows between them this year. Dean's won 2 British titles and a qualifier, I think, and
Yeah,
she's won 3. Yeah, she's won 3, 2 British titles and won the Heart of England. So yeah, she's there's a lot of gold in their household. So they best have it locked away, otherwise the old gold thieves will be around. So yeah, brilliant to see. And yeah, she's fantastic. She will do very well as a pro. Not sure if she's doing Europeans or Universe. Because like I said, the qualifications were for both. From the Heart of England was for Europeans, because it was the week after, I think they were saying it'd be too hard for people to like do a British and then get all the travel arrangements done like for 4 days later. Because I think check-in was Friday morning. So you'd have to obviously be there Thursday night. So I think that's why we did the qualifications for Europeans primarily at the Heart of England show. So she qualified for both, but I don't know if she might have gone. But bikini is tomorrow, I believe, anyway, because it's over 2 days. So either way, she'll do very well.
Yeah, I'm sure she will, regardless of whether she does or not. And then we'll go through into our women's overall, as we mentioned earlier. A standout as well, particularly to beat someone of Sarah's calibre, who's we've already discussed is already there with a pro standard, but as was Anya, fantastic. And I think, as discussed from the judges, what we've watched in the review, Anya, even within that, we're just clear, absolutely, yeah, you're the overall winner, like. And that just kind of highlights how good she is. Not sure. I believe if bikini is tomorrow, wellness is probably tomorrow at the over in Denmark. Then imagine so.
It's mixed. It's because obviously it might be actually. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, because I think bodybuilding's this afternoon.
It's on the other day, is it?
Yeah, classics tomorrow, bikinis tomorrow, men's physiques tomorrow. I think wellness might be tomorrow then potentially because it was bodybuilding and figure. So maybe it's physique and men's bodybuilding this afternoon. It was a bit of a weird mix, like what we normally do.
Yeah, but yeah, regardless, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if she comes. I'm not sure if they have a pro. They'll have a pro wellness already.
I'm just looking now actually. Oh no, it's today. Wellness is today, and we do have a pro
Yeah.
class. So wellness will be on potentially as we film this.
Yeah, so I'm surprised that she takes the win on there. So that just highlights how good she is. And not to put the blinkers onto other athletes, and obviously, it's a growing division. But even in years to come, I'm sure she'll do very, very well within that class. And as mentioned, Sarah Wilson, with her just being that good of a bikini athlete and that much of a standout, they also rewarded her with a pro card, and I believe she accepted pro status there, and rightly so with the number of wins she's picked up throughout the season. And I'm sure that will continue over upcoming years competing as well. And then, so we're moving through to men's physique tall here. Do you want to go through this one for us, Finn?
Yeah, so Pete won this. Really, really good result for him. Um, he won PCA first timers overall. Really, really good physique, and that's a great result because that was a huge show. I think there was like 450 people in that show. So fantastic result for him, and then to win this, that's brilliant. So he's had a good year. He just missed at the WNBF, but the winner in his class got pro status and then placed in the pro show. So I don't think you can be too upset about that. As I said on his post, and he was chuffed with second. So yeah, brilliant, really, really good winner. And this was a good, strong class. Joe, I believe in second. He's had a good few top threes. And he won the Heart of England, so he's been in and about. And he also tried his luck at Classic the following day. So he tried him in both categories. So yeah, really, really strong win for Pete, and that's a fantastic result to say it's only third show. That is, he's an overall winner, second place, and then now a British champion, like in three shows. That's pretty good going. So if he's doing any international shows, that would be, he's going to be up there, and he's got a very, very similar physique, in my opinion, to Josh Croggan. If you like cover his head up, you could. His top line, particularly, is like very Croggan-esque, and obviously we know how good he is. So I hope you take that compliment, Peter, because that's it's quite a good person to be compared to. So yeah, fantastic winner, and a good top five really. Everyone's in good nick. It's just like you say, it was, in my opinion, it's probably quite a clear winner, really.
Yeah, I think rightly said. Very good top five. But yeah, quite a clear standout winner with Pete. And I'm sure he'll take that compliment very well. Not bad being compared to as a WNBF Worlds winner. Not bad at all. And yeah, very, very successful season, and rightly so. If you're bringing a look like that, I'm sure you're going to do very well, as he has done and as he's proved throughout the season. But yeah, just to crack this top five is good. I mean, because the standard throughout is very, very good. So yeah, really really happy with the top five overall there. Then we go through into our, unfortunately, no shots through of the overall other than the overall and the Shreddy Kruger himself, Mr. Johnny Clough. And yeah, even this photo just highlights the condition he brought. Very peeled and yeah, rightly so rewarded for bringing that gnarly level of conditioning. Which he never fails to bring conditioning, but I think he's just stepped it up that 1 or 2% from that, and rightly so, coming home with the not just winning his class and winning a British title, but also winning the overall and winning his pro status. And as we mentioned earlier, couldn't be happier for him because yeah, great guy and great supporter of natural bodybuilding.
Yeah, he's just such a good bloke. Like, he'd be chuffed with this. So I hope he he takes that same enthusiasm into the pro ranks, mate, because he deserves to be there. He's shown that. So all the best, Johnny, for that, mate. Everyone's behind you. It was a popular win. Everyone was commenting on his posts and sending messages, and he was at the show the second day, and he was still fucking beaming. And I had a little chat with him, and he was buzzing. So yeah, credit to you, mate. I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, good stuff. And I think even our junior Leo, either 22, 23, look well in that overall from
Yeah, absolutely.
we've heard. So yeah, another few years, keep adding towards that very kind of aesthetic physique, and wouldn't surprise me if you're taking home the pro status as well. That was a wrap up through of day one. So like I say, if you want a bit more of an insight, bit more of an in-depth in towards that, you can obviously click through on the YouTube on there. So day two was bodybuilding classes, starting off obviously into our teens, and the starting the day off with controversial ones and splitting edge, cock hair decisions, as you want to say it really. And that's not to even take away from Will, because yeah, as we know, this free for free in terms of British titles now, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
so
matched Josh.
I'm following Mr. Bogdani. Bogdani can't come back now because yeah, he's fucking absolutely huge. But anyway, so yeah, into teens. Will Richardson, I believe it was yeah, split decision or one vote, extra in Will's favour. Because yeah, Presley really brought it in second place. And I believe even if, for instance, I'm pretty sure Lee judged on day one, but didn't on day two, from what was said, just because someone couldn't be there for day one. And yeah, Presley, if you're listening to this, or if you've listened to Lee or Christian after, like if Lee was judging, it might have gone your way. So it's just yeah, it's just unfortunate being up against Will, but I'm sure you're very happy with the second place there. But yeah, like it's hard not to look past someone of kind of like Will's shape, size, and sheer dominance, and that front light's very impressive, even if you're looking at it in open bodybuilding. Never mind a teen class, being 19 years of age and under. But yeah, again, same with Prezza there, great shape. Really granite hard conditioning, particularly for a teen. Great flow to his physique as well. Quite a standout within the top two there. And then third, fourth, and fifth. Again, some like really, really good teams. But just not to kind of like the elite standard of as top two there. I think we had Matthew Edgerton in fourth place, rounding up a very, very successful season. Not too sure on the names of the other athletes in third and fifth.
Finn Cartwright was not fit. Yeah, Thornton. Sorry, Finn Thornton was third.
You say Finn Cartwright was the men's physique, wasn't it?
Yeah, Finley Thornton, and he came third the week. So it was the same top three as the WNBF.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's one of them because even if, as we mentioned, you don't expect it to go exactly how it's gone, because even though it has done on this in terms of the top three, it was very close, and it could have gone. All it took was another judge to kind of think, you know what, I'm going for Presley, and things could have flip-flopped around there. But yeah, very, very good. And very bright future for all of these athletes as they go in towards juniors, and wouldn't surprise me even if before they've kind of like maxed out the junior years, some of there's Presley and Will are kind of onto pro status beforehand. But I think in terms of Will has been a little bit sharper, which is why and this is the sharpest kind of Presley's been, so that's why he kind of like narrowed the gap in between them. But yeah, it was a very good class. Who did you have as your winner on this one, Finn?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there were split decisions at the WNBF and this show. So on another day, Presley is a two-time British champion and Will's won one. Like, that's how close it was. Condition and maybe aesthetics against just sheer mass and like wow factor. That's probably what they're comparing. And then Presley did the classic later on in the day and did very well. Missed a placing, but he wasn't out of place, and that was a highly competitive class as well. So personally, that for me, like, I think you can't look past Will's just sheer mass and a structure. And he's I think he's doing a couple of the international shows. I believe he's doing DFAC Worlds, and then I think he said he's going to Boston for WMBF Worlds. So he might do Universe as well. So clearly, he's a well-travelled young man. He will do very well. Hopefully, I'd love WMBF Worlds to have a junior or a teen class for him. But if he does the Open, he'll hold his own. I'm sure he will. And Presley's exceptionally aesthetic, lovely frame, lovely shape. He's going to win a lot of shows in the coming years. And he's just unfortunate. He's done 3 shows, and every single one of them he's been against Will, and that's just unfortunate. He's like, in any other year, Presley does a Josh Campbell and dominates and destroys everybody, but he's just come up against someone who is, another equally genetic freak. Finn in third was really good. Really peeled. Wasn't too far behind the top 2, so he did exceptionally well. That's 2 third places for him. And Matt in fourth, peeled to the bone for such a tall lad. So yeah, this is such a good class, and the first of many split decisions on the day, of which the next class was also a split decision. So yeah, it was an incredible start to the day, and Will is an absolute superstar in the making.
Yeah, very, very good class here. And then same again with juniors, and it's just bonkers really, because say throughout the season the team's probably like blown the juniors away in most of the shows. But it's fair to say not on this one. Like the top 3 is just absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, on another day or for certain other judges, second and first would have swapped round. In terms of Bert's just sheer, like his size, his big athlete. I think he's like 6'5". His clavicle width is just wide, takes up a lot of space on the stage. And for a tall lad to have that much kind of mass, it's super impressive. And it does have that kind of wow factor, and it has presence up on stage. But I think Tom in second place, he just like, obviously shorter athlete, but it just looked so complete. And almost gives me similarities to kind of like a Mitch Jarvis from his midsection. It's just super sharp and looks almost like a gymnast. It's kind of like a gymnastic physique, but yeah, super impressive. Like separation there. Like Tim never fails with his clients are always absolutely peeled, to be fair. So and same with Adams. So yeah, there's no shock surprise there. And then I think Zach Daniel, I've forgotten it's called.
Ben?
Ben, yeah, Ben in third place. Super sharp. He
Shredded.
was, yeah, absolutely shredded. Another tall athlete with a lot of muscle mass there. It's just unfortunately up against two very, very good body as well. But yeah, super sharp. I think I mean, he was sharp at the Heart of England, where he came second then, I believe. Because Tom was there.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
second.
I think he did.
Yeah, and he came in much improved since then. Just a shame you're up against two phenomenal athletes ahead of you, but you're not too far off there. Just a bit more time filling that frame out. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a tough one for the judges. And it's one of them. It's like Tom looks a bit more complete to my eyes personally now. But Bert's potential probably because he's that bigger frame as well. It's yes, a tough one to say, and you can't argue with either of them taking the top spot on this one. But yeah, awesome top three here.
Yeah, another split, and again, if it gone either way, one of them. I know they moved. They kept swapping them from the middle in the call outs. But yeah, Ben in third, absolutely fucking shredded. Fair play. That's some pain you've gone through to get in that condition. Tom, we talked about him, like some of the most detailed quads of the entire season of any athlete, you know, never mind a junior. I put on his post, like, the best abs, I think, of anyone. Like, he's got the best abs in the country. Like, yeah, it's like, he's either doesn't train them and it's just pure, like, that's just what happens to him, or he's got a proper ab routine that no one else knows. Because they're so, it's not just how dug in they are, they're thick, like, they're big. So he clearly trains them. He either trains them a lot, or his powerlifting background has made him super, super, like, dense, basically. I love his physique, really, really good. He's doing Universe, so he's going to do. He'll do well at there. And Bert's gone on to do. He's in Denmark today. He's just been on stage, I believe. He was top two on the stories, but I've not seen the results been posted. So he might be another European champion, or at least become second. That's still pretty good. But yeah, Bert, fantastic potential. If he fills out, I agree. I think his ceiling could be a bit higher because obviously you can see he can add more, and certainly where you saw he was this time last year when he started coaching with Adam, like, he didn't look remotely like this. So he can absolutely move on, and in this off season, I think is going to be very, very, very significant for him. But yeah, a superb top three, really, really was. And another, like I said, another split decision. So the judges had a really big headache on both the first two classes of the day. So yeah, it can't be like they were thinking, "Oh God, like, this is an easy day."
Yeah, certainly want an easy day for him, and certainly want an easy start for him. And yeah, again with Masters, like I think our winner in this class, he actually goes on to actually taking the PNBA pro status. But in this class, I mean, the top three, very, very good. I mean, third place was peeled. And
Yep.
even to stand out and look peeled next to our winner here, I've forgotten his name now.
Alex.
Alex, yeah, competed several times before. He's always sharp, but this is certainly his sharpest. But all three of these athletes were phenomenal. I know it was UT in second place from Finland. I thought his physique was awesome. I thought really like good level of muscularity, good level of condition, and just yeah, very very polished physique. Still had a great level of freshness to him. But I think yeah, Alex overall it was just his. It did actually get placed in the middle. I think the judges' eyes were actually drawn to Alex just on his condition and how kind of like nasty that condition was. That was the standout thing for him. But yeah, I think all three of these athletes very very good. Um, Superior level of conditioning. All of them definitely dug deep to kind of get into that conditioning and yeah, rounding off a very good top three. And on another day, there could have been a little bit of a switch round here, but it's fair to say when you're seeing that conditioning that Alex brings, it's going to be rightly rewarded as it was on the weekend here.
Yeah, it was. I want to. Well, I don't want to. I want to say condition against size, but that then dismisses how conditioned Uti was. Because I was really impressed by him, and if I'm honest, I'd have probably swayed his way on the judging panel had I been judging it. But obviously, that is just my opinion. Alex was his best he's ever been. Super peeled, really nice aesthetic, poses exceptionally well. Competed, couple of years in a row now. Does most shows, to be fair, that the UKDFBA do. And then, like you say, he went on to win the Masters overall, of which he dethroned the legend who we're going to go on to in the next class. And he, as I put on his post, I don't think there's going to be many people domestically who've beaten Mr. Palmer. I know it was in an overall, so maybe it doesn't technically count, but Andy Palmer doesn't lose, basically. So, yeah, superb for him. And now he's got pro status, so he'll be doing pro masters. So he's fantastic. Really good for him. And, he's risen the ranks from first timer to pro in a very short space of time. But yeah, I was really impressed with Uti. As we talked about WNBF, big guy, huge muscle bellies, good condition, really good tan. And he did the tall or heavyweight class later in the day, and he held his own there as well. So, yeah, really, really good for Masters. And then James is it in third, peeled, shredded. That's it. And just shout out to, I can't think of his name. I think, was it Mark? That guy with huge arms who didn't place.
Oh yeah, some big
He
stuff.
was fucking massive. I've never seen anyone like he potentially the biggest arms I've ever seen on a natty stage. And I'd like to. I need to watch the bodybuilding judges review because I want to know why that guy didn't place. Because I had him like fucking pushing, the top two. Yeah, he might have been as hard, but he was massive, absolutely huge. So yeah, I think he was called Mark. Whoever you are, yeah, arm day in the chat because we want to know what you're doing.
I need some arms. Yeah, and then we're through to Andy Palmer. Yeah, and this one was probably the most I've actually seen him pushed here,
Yep.
by Dean. Because Dean, as we've seen throughout the season, super sharp, but also carries like great shape to him. Like his skin's still good. He looks more like a Masters athlete than a Grandmasters. But yeah, super shredded, quite balanced as well. And in terms of muscularity, from the lower half, other than the adductors, because Andy Palmer's adductors are just ridiculous. But not too much off in terms of that muscularity, which is super impressive to see because Andy Palmer's just absolutely huge. Even if he was in an open lineup, you'd be like, yeah, who's this guy? He's absolutely massive. But he certainly got worked on the day here. And then got the lad in third place. I've always forgetting his name. But I think, yeah, he's his best yet. He competes year after year. And yeah, certainly improved within recent years as well. But yeah, very good top three here. And I'm sure Dean's not too dissatisfied, kind of coming second place to to Palmer when he just consistently picks up the wins.
Yeah, I agree. This is the closest in a few years I've seen Andy pushed. And yeah, he's a legend. He's a living legend. I think Lee said, is it 9, 10 British titles now across his career? Um, Worlds, Europeans, he's done it all. He's fucking just good. And he's just Andy Palmer. He's just Andy Palmer. That's all we say. We just say, Andy Palmer's Andy Palmer. Like, that's what he is. When you say Andy Palmer, you know what you're getting. Like, rock hard, huge, like, just fantastic. He's most muscular. Like, it was so good because, like, he just hits it and he just instantly gets like an extra like 10 pounds of like condition because like every sinew just like switches up. It's fantastic. So if you ever see him, like wait for his most muscular because like everything comes up. I'd argue this is the most conditioned I've seen him for a couple of years. I think it's the most shredded he's been. He does most years as well anyway. But yeah, Dean ran him as close as anyone I've seen, which shows how good Dean is, and Dean is fantastic. So I actually said literally last weekend when we filmed WNBF, I said, "Oh, I'd love to see him against Andy Palmer," not knowing Andy was doing the next day. And then when I got there and saw the two names on the list, I was like, "Oh, sick, that's class," because now we're going to see it. And yeah, and Andy won. I wouldn't say comfortably, but he was still a level above, I'd say. He's just so good, and he wasn't, Alex against him was again similar to the classic, was like size against aesthetics and like condition, one of them. So yeah, I just love seeing legendary figures on the stage, and um, you know, I'm sure he'll do one of the international. I think he's going to the universe because, of course, he is, because he does like every show, and he'll probably win out there, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt he'll do very, very well over there. And then Ultra Masters. This was the most competitive I've seen Ultra Masters in a while, to be fair. Particularly seeing the Nigel Barton back up there. Forgotten the fellow who placed fourth. What's he called now? Compete
Oh,
after
but is it Courtney?
Ortner, that's it. Coming fourth place there, looking great. I think Nigel, in terms of like upper body development, was probably the biggest through the upper. But our winner here was just super sharp. Like for an ultra master, like he's conditioned, like it's just a stand out above the rest here. I think like second, like from Nigel down to like Courtney, second, third, and fourth, they all like possess some like different strengths and weaknesses, from conditioning, a bit more muscularity, a bit more bubbliness in certain areas. But best overall, like the conditioning of our winner of the class here was just, yeah, superb conditioning, particular for an ultra master. Um, Sharp, good level of muscularity between as well, quite well balanced from top to toe, great shape. And yeah, rightly so, taking the win on the day. Nigel's one who's normally one there with like his conditioning tends to be on the top end within this class, but our winner here has just took that to that next level, and it's, yeah, super impressive to see.
Yeah, yeah, he was very peeled. I think he's probably the most peeled Ultramaster ever. I think I agree with you. I don't think there's many. I've seen like Roy Vaughan. He's a multiple British champion at like the over 60s level, but he's peeled, but he's nowhere near this level of peeled. Roy usually wins because he's just got fantastic muscle bellies. And then yeah, Nige, what a bloke. His routine were mint, absolutely mint. Um, Doing We Will Rock You, got the crowd clapping. Yeah, he's a showman. He does every show. He actually did men's physique the day before in the Open, because
Yeah,
why not? Fuck it, like I'm Nige, I do what I want, and he just loves it. He just loves competing. Does every show, enthusiastic, nice bloke, and he just brings it every single show, every single. I would say every year, but he does every show, so it's like every show. It's not even like, oh yeah, he competes every year. No, he competes like every show. He just does. He just loves it. And you know what? I don't know. Depends if, obviously, how if my missus is she might be roll her eyes hearing this, but I'm like, oh, if I'm in my sixties, I'll probably be doing that, but maybe not by then. I might be banned. We'll see. But yeah, really great class, and the winner was fucking diced for a 60-year-old to get in that condition and still hold on to a great amount of muscle mass is fantastic.
yeah, like we said, very impressive to see there. And I believe this photo just highlights the condition Alex was in. And rightly so, taking the overall Masters overall and new PNBA pro status, which I'm sure he's buzzing with because he competes year after year with the UKDFBA. Always up there, always bringing it. But yeah, I think this was definitely his sharpest yet. And rightly so. I'm sure he'll have a bright future in the pro ranks there in the Masters division. But yeah, pleased for him, and a good win and great package, and beating some great athletes there. Andy Palmer, I mean, UT within his class, some very good athletes, and then the Ultra Master, who was also appealed. So yeah, very, very good there. Then we go through to his next masters class. Then we're into masters figure here, and this was great to see. All three of these athletes in this top three was super good, and all three of them, like in terms of the criteria, was pretty much bang on for it. Like great shape and structure for it, good level of conditioning, but not super hard. All had like in terms of like the physiques flowed very well. And I'm sure this was quite a tough one for the judges because looking at them kind of like that front pose, like all three of them have a very, very good strong front poses there. So yeah, I'm sure with watching this one, it was a little bit of a kind of like a toss up, thinking like who's actually gonna be like the stand out within this class. Because all three of them looked superb really. What was your thoughts on this one, Finn?
Yeah, to be honest, mate, like if third, second, and first had been in reverse order, I couldn't have argued. Like I thought it was really close. The judges, obviously, um, I don't know if this was a split, but it may have been another one. And I wouldn't be surprised if each of them had the first place by one of the judges. I'm sure of that because Sunita in third, really, really good.
Right physique.
And she's fantastic. Had a really good season and tons of muscle, tons of muscle. It's I'm a bit surprised she hasn't done better with placings than she has, and that's not to diminish anyone in this lineup here or other lineups. I particularly like her physique. I think it's quite you know I think it's
Isn't it?
pretty much what you want. Yeah, yeah. It's really really good. So yeah, it was really good small class, but very good. Um, and not clear cut by any stretch. And both figure classes were brilliant. 'Cause we'll get on to open next, which was potentially it was the female class of the day. I thought, and yeah, really 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 impressive three here. And but like I said, had it been you know second was first and third came second and first was third, or first came second, third came third. Had it been any other way, I think we'd be sat here having the same conversation, saying could have gone anyway. Yeah, it was a toss up, genuinely. So you might come away at third and think, oh, I've not like technically come last, but on another day you win. Like it was that close, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Like looking at the shot, I was still a little bit like wowed, like coming back on it, and it was the same on the day. There was no kind of definitive winner, not in our eyes anyway. But yeah, it's probably a good job we're not judging the show. But then again, onto open figure, and yeah, as Finn's mentioned here, this was probably the class of the day, just to the sheer amount of the quality throughout, and even all top five was just phenomenal. I think we had, do you have over 10, about 10 competitors in this class? I know it was
I think there was 12. I'm sure
12.
there was over. I think there was at least six on each side. Sure there
So, yeah.
was.
I know it was up and around the double figure mark, and there was some great athletes that were missing out within the top five, and just because of the sheer standard within that. But with that being said, the winner herself was that good that it was quite a standout throughout. Someone we've seen before, Vita, who was up there with just looking as if she had that pro caliber level of physique, and that's what she possesses. Like great shape, great flow to her physique, good muscularity, like delts, good muscularity with them. Same within the quads, separation in them, but not like super hard. Midsection was sharp, and then likewise good from the rear and great taper from the side shots as well. Lucy in second place, I think just goes through from having a longer season. Probably not like, even though she looked good, probably dropped down a little bit and probably didn't look as, it's a bit more fatigued. But her physique's that good and the shape's that good. It still carried her to a very good second place here. I think she's probably reversing into her next shows, which I think I've seen for on socials. Then third place was it's kind of a toss up between like third and fourth because I thought Laws looked superb. like a shape, looked very good, but she was glazed up to the nines. AJ went to ham on the glaze on that one.
Yeah,
Um,
they ran out backstage like no one got any glaze the rest of the show.
yeah, AJ went to
They stole
town
it all.
on that. I don't know what went on there. I don't know if that's something she likes or whatever, but yeah, we'll not mention what hey, not mention what he said to me and Dante backstage as well. That was
Can we say it was like a Diddy party, or is that not allowed?
yeah, no Diddy party there on this. But yeah, third place was superb. But like, she was probably on the cusp of being too peeled. I mean, her quads stand out here and look enormous due to the separation in them. And likewise, like fifth place had lovely shape as well. But yeah, I would have argued with Loz probably like even pushing Lucy here because of like shape and um well, yeah, I'm not a judge at the end of the day, but I'm sure it was tight from second, third, and fourth. But I think Vita was quite a clear winner in this class.
Yeah, like she's someone who's we had as a bit of a favourite coming in because of the showing at the Heart of England. Like she's very very good. She's just figure like perfect shape, very good condition, really good midsection, and like the bang on amount of condition they want. So she won from pretty much the first pose, even though this was a brilliant class, like we said, class of the day on the women's side, like unbelievable, but clear winner. You can still have a clear winner and have a very very good close class. They did lots of call outs. A couple of girls who were like called in, called out, called in, called out. So there was probably a couple of girls who were like sixth and seventh who on another day could have been fourth. Like it was just that close. Um, Lucy is, like I said, really, really good. Another second place for her. So she's been so close in both the Britishers, and obviously the season's over now, but she's done fantastically well. Um, Credit to her, like really, really good quality, and for a junior as well. But that said, I think Vita's not. I think she's only mid-20s, so I don't
As
think
in,
she's particularly old herself. And spoiler alert, she's won Europeans today as an amateur. Because even though she did win the women's overall at this show, and she won a pro card. Um, you can still compete as an amateur in the PNBA until you make your pro debut, even if you've been given a pro card. I'm not a massive fan of that rule, but like I say, that's nothing on Vita. Vita just did what the rules allow, so she won Europeans in Open, and then won the overall. Then did the pro class, and she's come second in that, but we'll review that next week. But yeah, she's so good. She's really really good, and Loz fantastic improvement since I last saw her at the BNBF. Um, Oh no, I saw her at the Heart of England. Sorry, yeah. So yeah, but even then, she's coming sharper. She looks really, really good. And like you said, on another day, I think you could have swapped her in third. Could have you swapped her in second? I don't know. Like I think second, third, and fourth was
yeah,
super close because they kept comparing them more so than Vita. But Vita's a class above, and I walked past her when I went to the toilet, and she was with her family, and she was sobbing her eyes out. So clearly, it means a lot to her. So really nice to see. And everyone says I've never spoke to her, but everyone says she's a really nice girl. So again, good people doing well. A really good class, and figure I think has been the standout class this year on the women's side. I know we've had really good bodybuilders, but figure's been very strong this year, which is great to see.
yeah. I think very good for her. And we even had a standout athlete within this class who was probably like
Oh yeah, yeah.
to me and you in terms of the athlete is like as a standout and probably the most impressive to us as bodybuilders. But she was just too big for the class, too conditioned for the class, and if she was in physique, I'm sure she would. Yeah, if she was in physique, I'm sure she'd have done very well. But in terms of the criteria here, just not what they was looking for. But yeah, definitely the last with the most muscle and the sharpest within that class and had a great shape and structure and a tall athlete as well. But it goes to show if you're in the wrong class, then you you're not just going to get rewarded for being the kind of the best athlete, if that makes sense. With
Yeah,
Root,
she was ridiculously good, and
very good, yeah.
as soon as she walked out, we were like, "Oh yeah, she's won. Like she's beaten Vita, which is crazy." But then
And we're like, oh wait,
she, yeah, she got brought to the first call out, and then when she was actually stood with the first call out, we started thinking, and then they moved her out of it, and then they didn't call her back again, and she looked a bit miffed. But then Chris apparently went up to her after the class and just said to her coach, who accepted it, and just said, "Your physique.
not fit.
Sorry, you're just in the wrong class. Like
Yeah.
you would have probably won physique. You were just totally in the wrong class for what we want." So disappointing for her. She came over the way from Denmark and
Super
not
impressive.
placed.
Oh,
Yeah, but she's still impressed, and I think she's placed today at the Europeans quite highly. So there you go. Like in the right class, you're gonna place.
yeah, that's it. But really distracting bikini as well, wasn't it? It was like, is that
Oh
for
yeah,
us?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Fucking
like reflective. It was yeah. I can't say. Yeah, I can't say I'm a fan of that, but I'm not a bikini critique. So you know what I mean.
might have to start that up on maybe we'll leave that for next season, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
And then another super competitive class with classic physique short. And this one, they certainly got worked within this class. People got moved around. Um, there's quite a lot of moving around from after the first call out, giving everyone a share in around like middle, and the winner was not really sure. He's like, where am I here? Like Mark, he was like, you could see, but then he got placed in towards the middle. His confidence was growing, and you could see some of the athletes getting sharper. And yeah, it was super impressive to see him get worked and them seeing go through continuous rounds and just improve throughout there. And see if he had enough to take the edge. And yeah, we saw Mark come away with come and claim his title back after his return in 2022 and taking the UKDFBA Classic short title to second place Ron Kilowatt. And then we had
Felix,
Felix in third place. Yeah, I thought Felix, yeah,
brilliant, really
impressive.
good.
Yeah, I think really good. He was also one who was just so much enthusiasm as well up on stage. Like, you just loved it, didn't it? Not
Yeah,
as
the
much.
routine was immense.
Yeah, his routine was immense. Not as much enthusiasm as Machete. We'll get to in the
My
next.
guy, my
Yeah,
guy.
he was. Yeah, absolutely love it. But that's what we love to see the international athletes come over and they fucking love it. Like it's great to see. They all have all in great moods. And yeah, it just makes a good day as well. And being around that, it's a great atmosphere. But yeah, a mega top three. Personally, for me, like I didn't think Ron like superb bodybuilder, but I don't think he's that classic just from a weight standpoint. I think in terms of the muscularity he has and the like wide his lats and good sweep on his quads definitely give him the illusion of having like a shapelier kind of classic physique. But in my eyes, he's not that classic, but he's still a very, very good bodybuilder. And as he plays very well in a very good bodybuilding class later. But yeah, I believe like Mark is very, very classic in terms of his posing and so on. Even himself is probably not the most actually shapely for the shapeliest classic bodybuilder in terms of like genetically blessed. He's still very, very shapely. But yeah, it was a well contested class. But I think yeah, Mark was the winner in my eyes, and rightly so. Him taking the win in this class as well, and we had a lot of good athletes just missing out on the top three spot here because, as we mentioned, it's a well kind of well contested class. It's got a lot of popularity behind it, and we see that in both classic short and classic tall.
Yeah, super happy for Mark. Absolutely buzzing for him. You know, he was absolutely gutted after the BMBF, and he didn't try and hide that fact. He was absolutely gutted. But he used that as fuel, got a lot sharper, and showed. And yeah, like you say, when they first called him out, obviously Ron was placed centre. And again, we were having this discussion between ourselves and the crowd. Like, Ron's fantastic bodybuilder. You know, he placed highly later in this show and he won the British title at WNBF. I wouldn't say he's overly classic. And from what someone was saying when we at the show, like last minute, he decided to do classic because you can do both. And AJ's coach was like, "Oh, okay, I don't particularly think you are, but you know, crack on." So when he was called out first call outs, I was like in the centre. I wasn't convinced because I do for Mark and Felix are far more classic, in my opinion. I'm not saying Ron's, but Ron's the best bodybuilder in that lineup. So that's what we've got to differentiate: the best bodybuilder or the best for the criteria of classic. And I'm glad that Mark was given the nod. I'd have given Felix second personally, based on the criteria again. But that's not me saying Ron's not good. Ron's amazing. He's going to be a fantastic bodybuilder. I just don't think he's particularly classic for a natty. And someone like Matt Chapman, he just missed out top three. Someone like him, in my opinion, would be more classic than Ron. But again, it's one of them where the right decision was made for the winner. So Mark's now a two-time classic champion. The only person, because obviously classic hasn't been going that long, who's won it over multiple years. So again, a history maker. He was the first one, and now he's the first to repeat it. So credit to him. His season is over, unfortunately. I thought he was going on to the universe, but he's just, I think he's obviously him and his wife have been prepping a good while, and they put a lot into it. So I think they're enjoying some well-earned rest. So credit to them both. They're fantastic people. We'll get Mark back on. He was our first ever guest. He'll always hold that title when we're a very, very famous podcast. Like, he will be the first guest. So we'll get him back on. And, you know, if you go and watch that episode, if you haven't, you know, we asked him about the pressures of coming back as a returning British champion, and he rose to the occasion, and he saved his best till last, and that's what you can do. But yeah, shout out to Felix in third. Class routine, superb physique. Has won a couple of shows over in Germany. We saw him at the BNBF Northern. He looked immense. Fantastic bodybuilder. Big fan of his.
Yeah, very good. And I think it was it Jack Jones in fourth with as well?
Jack was tall, wasn't he?
Jack was tall. But yeah, I can't remember who was in fourth place as well, but it was some good.
Wasn't it the other German guy who had the really good routine? Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. Don't know your name, mate, but yeah, phenomenal physique. And I think for Matt Chapman, because I know his other shows coming up. I don't know if this was kind of like his main show or well, his other one was his main show, but it didn't look as sharp as he was at the prior Ireland show when he took the overall there. But he great shape, great potential within the sport. One thing I would say on Ron, he looked more classic from the rear, as if he had a way better taper from the rear than the front. I don't know how that happens, but
that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Your anatomy needs studying, my friend.
But yeah, super impressive physique nonetheless. And then classic physique tall, and this photo's a standout there, isn't it, Machete? He absolutely had to get that medal in, like, and just loved it. Great enthusiasm with the guy. Never seen someone so happy with his placing and to get the medal in. It's crazy as well because in my eyes, he's more classic than the winner there. I thought the winner was very good though. To be fair, I think like top three was great. It's one of them that you wouldn't have really argued if third come first and second come third and vice versa. This was another head scratcher. I think in terms of if Jack was sharper, even though it's not judged off conditioning, but it might have looked even more shapely, which might have placed him a little bit higher. But I thought Machete was superb. His shape, his structure, his presentation was very good. When that hairband comes off, that's what you're there for, isn't it? But I thought our winner there was, yeah, he was very good, particularly from a tall athlete, like a lot of muscle, particularly through his lower half. I think that's what gave him that kind of that taper, that illusion of having such a small waist and taper. The vacuum was very nice as well. But yeah, some really good quads, particularly for a tall athlete, and some good sweep on them. Um, but yeah, tough one to judge this one. And I wouldn't have argued if I'd have personally had probably Machete up there. Might have been biased though, just purely off his routine. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I was biased from the vibes. He
Yeah.
just deserved to win just because of the energy. For me, obviously, winner Ben,
Yeah.
absolutely peeled, absolutely peeled. He really was. His condition was really good. That picture doesn't do it justice. He was absolutely shredded. But I agree. I wouldn't say he was like classic standout because when they called him forward, when they
Mm.
compared everyone just in number order, then they did the first call outs. I was quite. I think he was quite surprised. He was very surprised to win. He couldn't believe it when they announced him as the winner, and he couldn't believe it when he was announced centre of first call out. I wouldn't be surprised if he'd kind of gone in, kind of thinking, well, if I can crack a top five, that's good.
Yeah.
Because it like for me, obviously, if we're going a bit more shape, like Jack is so good. Like I love his shape.
Mm.
I know he's not as sharp as obviously the winner, but his classic shape is immense. Just genetics, fantastic frame. But yeah, I'd have personally lent to Mache. So just energy, good energy. Like I love him. He's such a good bloke. Like I've never spoke to him, but he's a good bloke. Like handlebar mustache. You know, takes the hairband out for his routine. Really good routine as well. Punched the ground at the end for like a power pose and shook the stage. Like incredible. Like brought energy. Loved it. He was absolutely thrilled. And on his stories, he was proper bouncing. So yeah, what a guy. Credit to the sport to have someone like that in. So yeah, the winner was like I say, he was completely surprised and overwhelmed to have won. Um, and again, another good class. Couple of guys missed out who, like James Rutter, who has had a really good year in Classic. I was quite surprised at that. I don't know if it's has he like 1 week too many because after the WNBF, he where he didn't quite place because they don't have Classic, he had to do bodybuilding. So strange one with how well he did at the BNBF, but he, yeah, really good class and. Yeah, more of a. I follow Machete now, so I'm a number one fan. Whenever he next competes, I'm going to Germany, and I'm getting a fan club on tour. So you've got a fan for life now, mate.
That's it. Well worth turning up to this show to have Finn on your side. And this one was a phenomenal class. Um, and phenomenal class, phenomenal top three. But personally, for me, which is not even hard to say. I think Stevie was as soon as she came out, I was like, right, she's won. I actually spoke to a coach before, Danny Howe, because and I know Christian's mentioned this because I think she trains over. She's a Northern girl anyway. But she's competed several seasons before, but generally always done non-tested shows. So you just assume, and you just assume from her size, particularly from photos, that she's assisted. Um, or she's at least certainly can't compete naturally for whatever kind of she's used. But no, natural athlete, and she was like, you know what, I'll give it a go. And yeah, glad she did because what a standout. I mean, probably admitted she could have been a little sharper there because like conditioning is rewarded through in this class, as if we saw the athlete who was in figure earlier, if she was in this class, she'd have been done very well, particularly through from the hard conditioning she brought. But her shape is just that much that standout. It's just you just can't look past it. Like very like probably some of the big like most well capped delts I've seen on a natural athlete, really. Like just super cap delts and good separation into the tricep. Lats really well developed into her quads, very good. Just overall very shapely. And same from the rear was equally just as impressive. And the last in second place was harder, good level of muscularity, not as well muscled in the upper. Whereas then Ali is probably pushing close to Sivi's muscularity, particularly in the upper, probably harder in the lower, but just not as bigger. And even though Ali is very shapely, it's just not as dominating as Stevie in first place. But I'm sure this was one like I thought she'd push for it in the overall, to be honest. But maybe it was just that conditioning not being 100%, which probably didn't get her quite as much of a look in that overall.
Yeah, I was first time I've ever seen her compete, and yeah, really impressed. And like Luke said, like she's done loads of PCA shows before, to the point where I think she's one of like the favourites to win like the PCA British tomorrow. 'Cause figures tomorrow, and that's pretty wacky, to be fair. So yeah, if we've ever missed her before on the page, it's because I'd have just assumed she wasn't natural. And again, I'm not slating you there, Stevie. Like I'm saying, I just because she's that good, like, and I haven't seen you in that. So Luke's been modest. So Luke's claiming that he's won her the title because he told her to do the show. So he's been modest at the show. He nearly had a picture on stage with her to say, coaching her coach's friend, because he convinced the coach to enter in the show. So
I
fair
put it
play.
on the bio. Put that in the bio.
Yeah, I think you could put one-time British champion in the bio
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your coaching.
Any win.
So yeah, great to see though, because we want these people to do these shows. Like, yeah, the PCA may be more esteemed in some people's eyes and maybe has a bit more of an exposure element to it. But if you're drug free, why not come and dominate? And she's now earned, the right to compete abroad if she does. I thought with how good she was, they might have given another pro card in the overall, even without her winning the overall, just because she was that good. But they didn't, and that's fine. I'm convinced that she'll probably win it in her own time if she does Universe. Barbara in second. She's ex-British champion. Competes most years. I don't know if that's necessarily her best thing, Barbara. She just loves it. She's like a bit like Johnny, really, really enthusiastic, lovely woman. I spoke to her quite a bit because we were both coached by Damo. Really, really enthusiastic and just loves competing. So she does most shows. I think Damo has to talk her out of doing a lot of shows, so she'd do more than she wants to. I think she'd do every UKDFBA show. So I think she was going to do the MBW, and I think he was like, yeah, let's not. And then she just does every show, and it's great to see. And Ali in third, she's had a superb year, really made improvements, but on paper, quote unquote, like the results are worse than 2022, which sounds bad, but it isn't, because she's made immense improvements. She looks fantastic, and she placed highly in physique and bodybuilding at this show, and athletic and bodybuilding at BMBF, and you can't ask for more than that. And really impressed by her physique. Really good top three, as good a top three as physique's probably ever had in the few years that they've been running physique.
Yeah, very, very good. And as you said, like Ali, like huge improvements throughout this year when she come back. It's like, yeah, definitely had it packed on muscle. But if you were just looking at the results throughout the season, you'd be like, right, oh, she's gone backwards, but certainly haven't. So yeah, improvements definitely paid off. And as it's highlighted here into the women's bodybuilding class, we've taken a second place to a superb first place. And this class, this is also like this is awesome to see. Women's bodybuilding really getting well, some really good athletes within that, and getting some good popularity, and a lot of like females wanting to step into this class. And normally you get like one or two, and then the rest is a little bit like mixed bag. But I think do we have about 5, 6? So
6 or 7, there was a lot in bodybuilding. Yeah, there was quite a few.
yeah.
Jenny was 4-4-5, wasn't she?
Yeah, but yeah, all of the girls within this class, like not even if you come in sixth place, you were still phenomenal. It was great to see. I mean, if you're looking at all three here in the side legs are great, and I'm sure they'd all take my side leg. So definitely got to still stay in the off season until I return to the stage. But yeah, it was superb to see. But yeah, Becky Starr, wasn't it, with um, the win there, super sharp, great level of muscularity. Conditioning very good, good level of like vascularity coming through as well. But yeah, Ali's definitely one where she's kind of like on the cusp, whether it's like take a couple more years and pushing towards bodybuilding. But you're still very, very good within physique as well. And then Jess, superb. In body, another one where she's on the cusp, like can do very, very well within both classes. Great level of conditioning highlighted here. So if you want to push and continue like growing and come back in bodybuilding and be very competitive, you're more than capable to do so. So that's the bonus with some of the female athletes being able to kind of cross over from some of the classes, because it just highlights the potential and talent there, and kind of the where the ceiling's at, really. But yeah, very, very good top three here.
Yeah, great. It's just continued the trend of bodybuilding being very, very good. Becky, clear winner. She's, really, really. If we're doing, which we might do, spoiler alert, we might do like an end of year, like little just fun voting, like athlete of the year, like men and women's. And I think for me, Becky gets newcomer of the year in the women's side of things. Absolutely fantastic. Rocked up, overall win, two British titles. Uh, Probably would have been a third if she'd done a WNBF. And I think she's potentially going abroad with DFAC tomorrow doing Worlds. I don't know if she's then doing Universe. So as I say, she's just fantastic, like outstanding bodybuilder, and a great addition to the scene. And yeah, Jess in third has had a really really good year. I think personally, like she just placed out the top three in physique. I think she was 4-4-5th, and we were kind of looking. Obviously, whatever mine and Luke's opinion means to you, Jess. Because obviously, Loz being your coach, listen to her. I think that with a bit more of an off season, I think bodybuilding's where her physique fits personally, because she's got a lot of muscle and she's only going to improve from there. So she's been flicking between physique and bodybuilding all season, like Ali. And I think Jess is a little bit more bodybuilding favoured, in my opinion. But yeah, really good year for her. Ali, we've just talked about, fantastic. And yeah, it was a very good class. And they all had fun up there, which, a lot of people can take this too seriously. And the pose down, they were all, messing around and just having a laugh and a giggle. And you know what? Like, some people take competing too seriously and they're like, they don't interact with the other athletes and they're a bit sullen. Like, no, it's come on, have fun. Like, you're
Yeah.
on stage, put on a show, and look like you're enjoying it, even if you're not. So yeah, a fantastic top three, really good class, and bodybuilding this year has really exploded after a few years have been a bit quiet and a bit.
Mm.
It looked like it was going the other way, and I hope that's here to say. I hope that this isn't a one-off. So yeah, really good spectacle.
Yeah, absolutely. And right with what you said there, the definitely pose down of the day, and probably the most enjoyable pose down I've witnessed, and as there should be throughout. And then onto our women's overall. Um, as we've mentioned before, did we mention Vita for in the women's overall? I believe we did.
Yeah, briefly touched on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously from the women's class there, obviously as bodybuilding, as physique, and figure, and Vita, I believe it was mentioned as quite a clear win here, because in terms of, and that's not taken away from the other athletes there with great wins. It's just in terms of her fitting the class criteria, nailing the look. She just does that down to a T. And as mentioned, that's why she's come on with the win again at the European. So yeah, deservedly getting pro status and deservedly taking the overall in the women's class there. Then we threw into the big boys in the open bodybuilding, and what a class this was. Probably the best bodybuilding show, one if not
Yep.
one of
That
the
and the WNBF, yeah. I think the WNBF maybe takes it 'cause there
yeah.
was a few more people in. Um,
But in terms of the
yeah,
class
but
itself, it's
oh yeah, I said on my story, I firmly believe it's the best British top three I think I've ever seen in terms of just how good third place is. Like, yeah, like, outstanding. The best I've ever seen, ever, ever.
yeah, so good, and all three of these have fucking huge wheels as well. All three of them. But yeah, top in terms of the top three from there, it was phenomenal. Another split decision, and it's definitely the best I've ever seen, James. It's an athlete we've seen compete for years, even from the juniors. I don't know if you've did he do you see him as a teen?
Yeah, he did teen, and then I want to say he did his ACL after his qualifier because he didn't do
Yeah,
finals that year.
but what a freak! 'Cause his
Um,
legs have grown tremendously since he's done that. It's
I
just
don't, yeah, I want that. I mean, we'll get him on the pod soon. I want to actually ask him about that because by rights, you shouldn't be winning British titles after an ACL injury.
yeah,
Naturally, like in open bodybuilding, like you just shouldn't. Like it end most people's careers, and he's come back, grown, improved, and he's British champion. Crazy. It's crazy.
yeah, and seeing him improve, it came second to was he second to Dan at the Heart of England, I believe. Was he
Yeah,
third?
yeah. And he was second to him at he came second at the NBF, but to Anthony. But yeah, he was second at the Heart of England. Yeah.
Yeah, and but significantly improved since both the Heart of England and the BNBF. Like sharpest I've ever seen him, and we know the potential in James, but not fully coming razor sharp, but it's just sharp enough to kind of edge a phenomenal Dan Sutcliffe. And I believe this is the first time Dan's not won a show, and he's done multiple European shows. British titles, overalls. Like Dan's phenomenal. And going into the show, you see Dan's name on the list, and you're like, right, who's fighting for second then? But that just highlights how good James is. But then when you're seeing Rue Pinder there in third place on there, who's competed as a novice, this is his novice year in there, and you're like, wow, this could be a very this could go anyway between these three. And some great athletes missing out on the top three there, but these three are just a standout. Um, and yeah, some judges had it Dan's way in Dan's favour. Some judges had it in James's favour. Think they were just enough to kind of like push past Rue in terms of overall just completeness and just that just kind of graininess to both of them just kind of edged it. I think from the lower half, Rue was significantly sharper, but then from the rear, I think both Dan and James was just a bit more kind of dense and that hardness come through of their physiques as well. But wouldn't surprise me in years to come if Rue was getting the top spot in that one. All three of them definitely on there with kind of being pro worthy. It's just yeah, putting it together. It's just a matter of time, really. Likewise with Theo, you might come very close. It might be for a number of years, but if you keep banging on that door, you will definitely get there for sure. But yeah, I thought personally in my eyes, like when James was there, and I was like, you know what, I think James has got this. Like I was like shocked, but then I was like, I think he's edging down here. And yeah, rightly so. He took the win on the day. But yeah, how did you view it, Finn?
Yeah, they called obviously James first out, which I know a couple of people then were like, oh, okay, like, because he's the best I've ever seen James. He won, he's obviously won the junior title at the British level. You know, you could make a, like, not in a disrespectful way, like, he wouldn't need to look like this to have won that class, like, but he had to look like this to win this class, like, in terms of he couldn't have come in any less. That's how close Dan was behind him. You know, the best I've ever seen James, and he's unleashing the potential that we all know he's got. His star, you know, is going to shine very brightly in the sport on whatever side. I know he does have potential aspirations, maybe one day, of, you know, transitioning over, of which he'll do exceptionally well. He's got the frame, he's got the genetics for it, you know. But his first Open British title, still at junior age group as well, fantastic. And Dan, I've said before, Dan is one of the best lightweights this country's ever produced, and he's not even a pro. Like, it's crazy. I love his physique. He's a great bloke, and
Wasn't
he's
off
back.
either. He was
No,
fucking
no, no. So this is what I mean. Like, I know he'll be disappointed, and I know he's disappointed. But
absolutely.
it was a split decision. If the same judging panel had voted the same two physiques for next day, it might have had the other way around. It's just whatever mood they're in. I don't know, like, you know. And Rue, like, they didn't have a novice category because they did a novice show at the Heart of England. So Lee kind of said, we don't need a novice at the British really. So Rue was thrown in at the deep end, and held his own, more than held his own. Outstanding physique. And yeah, he will be lifting this title in his next season, more than likely. Absolutely incredible. And yeah, I repeat, this is the best top three I've seen at a British final in terms of just the overall quality of all three. Like, all three could be placing top two or three in a pro lineup this year. Like, that's how good they are. And it's a shame, like, you know, you go to some. I'm not. America's not catching a stray here, but like, you see some American shows, like every regional they do, and I understand the country's big and people can't travel. I understand that. Like, at every regional, they give out pro cards, and the people who win the pro cards are nowhere near these three. Nowhere. So if these were in America, these would be legendary pros already. Never mind, still amateurs. Never mind going third at a British in Rue's case, or second in dance. So honestly, this was the class of the day for the men, and incredible. The short or lightweights this year has been absolutely insane, absolutely insane. And you know what? You know, I know people are, with lightweight, but these guys have muscle. Don't let the word light like it's anything but. So yeah, superb. It was a joy to watch, and James was thrilled. He's a great supporter of the page. He's a great supporter of bodybuilding. Lovely lad. And I know he's going international, and so is Dan. I don't know if Rue is. You might be able to confirm if he is or he isn't.
I believe he is, but I'm not sure in terms of which show. I know
So
he's
yeah,
not done yet, so that
these two will both be doing DFAC Worlds tomorrow, and they'll actually be in different class again because they'll be in lightweight and middleweight. So they won't get to repeat the battle unless they get to the overall, which hopefully we do. We want the Brits to do well. So yeah, superb. I could go on all day about this class, and we've already gone on enough this episode, so we can move on. But yeah, fantastic. All three guys, great guys as well.
yeah, very good class there. And then this another superb class. And it's a bizarre one really, because we're saying Ron is more of a bodybuilder, but just up against two fucking freaks, and two freaks in their own right. But Jordan Long, super happy for him, because really humble guy, super down to earth, very just happy to give out time, and he's one who probably still doesn't know how good he is, and never knew how good he was. He's just trained for years, just loved it. Happy to take on, like, listen to people and It's like, yeah, I'll give it a crack and I'll see how as I do. And people are like, no, you're probably going to win it all. If you all you need to do is just nail your posing, get your conditioning nailed, and he absolutely delivered on that. As soon as he came out, we was like, right, okay, yeah, he's got that there, and that's not to take it away from Anthony or Ron or any of the other athletes. And we had a superb Ethan Kavanagh in fourth place. I could have argued personally, I'd have had him in third here. But yeah, Jordan was superb. Like an athlete with that amount of muscle mass, a pleasing shape, great condition, granite hard conditioning, superb routine as well. But yeah, you're just destined to win it. We had a freak last year with Richard, and Jordan's equally the same, and equally sort of seeing Richard at the show looking enormous as well. But yeah, Jordan was superb and a clear and a standout, and the same in the overall. Even though like Bert looked good up there. For a junior, Bert looked very good, but eyes are just immediately drawn to Jordan. Really nice sweep to his quads, great separation there, granite hard and super hard from the rear and super thick, dense back. Like his back was super, really dominating. Like I know Anthony's got a really good taper through from his rear, but um, the sheer amount of he must be a heavy deadlifter. He's trained for over a decade and just constantly constantly just continue to gain size and gain size and yeah, his physique has certainly showcased that. But yeah, I think Anthony was quite a clear second. And yeah, I imagine it was close between third and fourth for Ron and Ethan. I know Ethan's gone to Denmark today, so all the best for Ethan over there. But yeah, superb class again.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say who Anthony or Jordan would have won the overall, whoever won this class. I think that's fair to say. James wasn't far away from Jordan, but like these two are the best two bodybuilders in the show, in my opinion. And it's just a shame Anthony's not even won when in my opinion, Anthony would have come second in the overall, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm.
So if Anthony had been in that overall, even though he came second in his class, he'd have been come second in the overall, which can sometimes happen. And that's why the WNBF do that. Yeah, correct. That's why they invite top 2 or top 3 to the overalls for that reason, because you might have one class that's like this, and then the rest of the classes which are crap. So Anthony, brilliant. He's had an incredible year. Whatever international shows he does, he will do very well. I can see him being rewarded with pro status at some point in the next couple of weeks, if not tomorrow, if he's doing DFAC, which I don't know if he is. He might be, as the middleweight champion of the BNBF. So 2 British titles and the second place, like, that's about as good as it gets. I don't think there's any man who's done 3 out of 3, won all 3 British titles in his open class. I might be wrong. I'd have to have a think about that. So Anthony was that close to doing it. I think he'd have been the first man ever, because obviously not a lot of people do all 3 federations, but I think he'd have been there. Because obviously we were saying Theo was the only one who's won 2 overalls. Anthony might have been the first who would have won all 3 had he, but he came up against Jordan, who, yeah, Luke said it all. He is humble. He's a great guy. Doesn't know how good he is. He doesn't. Even now, winning the overall and pro status, he doesn't. We all thought last year we'd seen it all with Richard, and in terms of like this newcomer freak, because it's only Jordan's second ever show.
And they're good mates.
They work together. They work together. So whatever they're doing at work, I wonder if because the scaffolders. There's two ways to look at it. Either it's the scaffolds are shifting all day, and just to go on your point about deadlifting, actually, I was speaking to Adam about this, and he only RDLs at the minute, and Adam wants him to pull off the floor, so it'll be interesting to see what he can deadlift when he does. So either scaffolding makes you jacked because you're chucking weight around all day, or, which I think is more likely, he's done a big job at like a nuclear power plant, and he got some radiation into him.
Yeah.
which has made him fucking super jacked, like Spider-Man. But he doesn't know, and obviously he can pass tests because it was like, it's part of him now. He didn't take anything. It was like just radiation. So either way, I'm going with the more likely one of radiation rather than scaffolding makes you jacked.
Adam
Just fucking
Power's just hiring these two level athletes. Is that what it is?
and if he's got a third friend, he will win the overall next year. Because if Richard's done it and then Jordan's done it, and what's scary is he's a middleweight. Like you look at that physique and think, oh, he'd be a heavyweight. No, he's like 77, 78 kilo, like flat. So there you go. He's a middleweight, which is stupid and annoying because in 2026 he might just do a shows and I would be in against him. And yeah, I don't want to do that, so probably won't. So yeah, this was fantastic. Really good top for it too. I agree with Ethan and Ron. I think they were very close. And yeah, it's weird. Like Ron is a better bodybuilder than Classic, but has placed worse. So then he might think I'm better at Classic, but no, the lineups are very, very different. And Ron will do very well. I think he's doing WMBF Worlds. This is his main target show. So, and I think he's doing WMBF Israel, but obviously with what's going on there, who knows if they'll have a show. So he may be a pro by the end of the year. So all three of these will probably be pros by the end of the year, if I'm honest. And Jordan is just one of those genetically gifted guys, and he can get better. That's what is scary. So yeah, superb. Just you can't eat that picture. Doesn't even do him justice. Like how thick he is, like dense and bubbly. He's brilliant. Quads are ridiculous. Great detail, great condition. Superb overall winner.
Yeah, phenomenal. Super carved out as well. And then we go through to open and men's bodybuilding tall before we get to our blood and guts award. And another superb win for Dustin Gerrick, I believe. He's come over twice now. Done the BMBF finals, taking the win there. Close in the overall there. And then again, the opens. No, it was in middleweight, wasn't it? Actually, yeah.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
was
BMBF.
middleweight.
Yeah. Which is also just wow, like because yeah, big guy. And taking away men's bodybuilding tall here. Quite a clear win in my eyes on this one. Just super polished physique. Quite balanced. Good level of muscularity, great conditioning, great tan, good amount of glaze. Just looks he kind of don't know, almost carries himself like a pro athlete, like in terms of everything's just seems nailed, like good presentation, his posing was very good. But this was a good top three, but he was a standout within that. I think between second and third place, it was kind of an apple versus oranges, because second place had like lovely taper on him, like bubblier, super sharp, but not like absolutely inside out as third place was. And yeah, had a great taper, great quads, good separation between them, but a bit of a kind of not as granite dry as third place, but a bit bubblier. Whereas third was a bit kind of flatter through in the upper, less capped off in the delts, but them quads was fucking probably some of the most shredded quads in the show, to be honest. Super impressive top three, to be fair. But yeah, quite a clear win for Dustin in taking the bodybuilding tall class.
Yeah, I think this was one of the few classes of the day where the winner was clear. There weren't many. Like I say, most of the classes were split decisions, apart from maybe Andy Palmer. This is probably the only class where it was like, oh yeah, Vito, I suppose, yeah. There weren't many classes in this show, which shows how good it was. But whereas Dustin was, yeah, clear winner, came out straight away, boom, yeah, he's won. Crazy how he's a middleweight because he looks there like a big butt, and he was a big lad. Will in third had a fantastic year, and we'll briefly touch on him because he was given a special award. We'll go on to in a second. He's had a fantastic year. couple of top threes at national level, which is fantastic. Really shredded for a tall guy.
Incredible.
Lots of muscle. Yeah, really, really shredded. And yeah, second place, another guy from Germany. I forgot his name now, but he was shown to me before the show started. Someone went, "Oh, this guy's." Adam showed me and went, "Oh," because he was talking about Jordan for the overall, and actually this guy was shown to me by Adam, and he was like, "Oh, I think he's going to run us close." And he'd done a show a couple of weeks. I think he did the NBF or GmbF, one of them, last week or the week before, and he looked fantastic. Like you say, lovely shape. You can see like with even more muscle, like he's probably unbeatable. Like with an another off season behind him.
Mm.
But then he's come out and it's fair to say Dustin has smoked him. Like, and that's no disrespect to him. Like Dustin's very good. So yeah, really good. And he was, as Lee said, the only international winner of the day, which is rare because usually when they come over to win, and there's some very good athletes. And yeah, so the only international winner of the day, and it was yeah, really probably out of all the big classes, he was certainly the clearest winner in terms of like, yeah, you've won this. But yeah, very good show. It was a fantastic show, and we'll just briefly touch on the little special award for Will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great show capped off as well. The only one thing to say, it's the same as with all kind of bodybuilding shows, particularly with natural bodybuilding shows, UKDFBA, WMBF, BMBF. The best things are at the end, and unfortunately, a lot of people have gone by then, so it's always worth sticking around for, particularly when you've got someone who looks like Jordan does there, because yeah, wow, seeing that in person was phenomenal. But yeah, Will, Blood and Guts Award. I've not dug any deeper into his story. I don't know if you managed to to
I
know
don't,
as
I don't,
why.
I don't think he's necessary. I'll go on his profile, but I don't think he's like one of them who.
Mentions about it.
Yeah, which is part of why Lee gave him the
Yeah,
award,
yeah. So
because he just.
yeah,
I think he had an accident of some description, um, several years ago, and
minimal
was
chance
very very
of
poorly.
survival. But just yeah, I think was it 30%, I believe Lee said.
Something like. Oh wait, I found something. I think it looks like he was attacked actually, which is very sad. I've just scrolled through his profile, and he was on channel. I think he was in like 24 Hours in A&E a few years ago, because he's like reshared it. So because obviously I don't want to go into the poor lad's fucking, not a very nice day, but it looks like he's been attacked for somewhere. Um, so yeah, poor bloke, but he's rebuilt his life, rebuilt his physique, and looks incredible. So credit to you, mate. He got a standing ovation, and this award deserves it.
Absolutely.
And there's been some good winners and some really good stories of people who've won the award. And obviously, the inaugural award of this was the guy who, at my first ever British finals, he actually died backstage, but was brought back to life. He just had a cardiac arrest, pumping up, all before he went on stage, and one of his fellow competitors had to resuscitate him. And then the next year he came back and did the show, and I've never seen anything like it. I was like, I saw him, and I was like, I swear that's the guy. And then Lee were like, oh yeah, by the way, this guy died last year at the show, and now he's here shredded again, looking mint. And I was like, fucking hell, like. So it just shows you, doesn't it? Like, for us, like, it's tough enough, and then for other people, it's even tougher. So, yeah, Will, credit to you, credit to you.
Yeah, phenomenal, mate. Phenomenal story, and very inspiring. And then your men's overall, and no shock there. Clear winner, and clear in the yeah, unanimous in the overall. New PNBA pro, and that's a great way to cap his season off. Two shows. And you could have said he might be a bit disappointed after his first show coming third, in a good class, but then he's really nailed it for this one. phenomenal athlete, and I'm sure he'll do very well in the pro ranks. But yeah, quite a more of an in-depth kind of opinions kind of review than we intended on this one. But yeah, pleasure as always. We appreciate you all for listening onto the big 500 on the socials now. So appreciate you all for following along. We'll keep continuing to build that as well. But yeah, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. And we will catch you in the next one, guys.